I go to church. I'm a Christian. But at the same time, this is reality. My son is gay. That's reality.
Hey, yo, this is Magic Johnson's son, the great Magic Johnson of the Lakers. This is 6'5" for no reason and got the nerve to have.
I've never dated a celebrity, I don't think. I may have hooked up with one or two in the shadows, rappers.
So apparently, there's a whole lot of online chatter surrounding Magic Johnson's son, E.J. Johnson, and what he may or may not know about certain men in the entertainment and sports worlds. Social media has been buzzing with claims that E.J. could know some private details about famous rappers, athletes, and other industry names who allegedly present one image in public while acting very differently behind closed doors. But here's the important part. These are rumors floating around online, not confirmed facts, and there's no reason to treat random speculation like proven information. The story gets even messier because some posts claim EJ has grown frustrated with people who publicly criticize the LGBTQ+ community, while allegedly being much friendlier in private. According to this online gossip, certain men supposedly make strong statements on social media, only to behave differently when nobody is watching. There are even rumors claiming EJ has kept messages or other so-called receipts over the years. Again, none of that should be taken as confirmed unless EJ himself provides clear evidence. Still, that hasn't stopped people online from speculating about whether some major names could eventually get pulled into the conversation. And this is where the debate gets seriously heated. Some fans argue that public figures who criticize others while allegedly living by a different standard deserve to have their hypocrisy questioned. Other people say private relationships and someone's identity should never become internet ammunition, regardless of how famous that person might be. After all, publicly revealing deeply personal information about somebody without their consent can cross a serious line. That same standard should apply to EJ, celebrities, athletes, rappers, and everybody else. So while the internet keeps trying to guess who these mysterious industry figures could supposedly be, there's a much bigger issue underneath all the gossip. Calling out verified hypocrisy is one thing, but turning unconfirmed rumors about someone's private identity into entertainment is something completely different. And unless actual evidence comes forward, the names, messages, and supposed secret behavior being discussed online remain exactly that, unverified claims. That's exactly where this whole debate starts getting messy.
Men are DL men. This is not a complicated conversation. The straight men that EJ Johnson is referred to are DL men.
Critics online are pointing out that publicly revealing someone's private identity can be deeply unfair, especially when that person hasn't chosen to share it themselves. So naturally, people are asking why anyone should get a free pass to expose somebody else's personal business just because there's frustration or alleged hypocrisy involved. Privacy is privacy, no matter who's standing on either side of the situation. Then the internet took things even further, with people throwing around theories about EJ's dating life and why he might supposedly be frustrated with certain men in the public eye. Some commenters have speculated that EJ may have wanted a more open relationship with someone famous, while others claim the situation is being completely exaggerated for clicks. But there's no solid proof backing those personal theories, so treating them like facts would be way out of pocket. What we can say is that the speculation has created a much bigger conversation about celebrities, privacy, public image, and relationships that people may not feel comfortable discussing openly. And if you've followed EJ over the years, you already know he has never been afraid to stand out. His fashion, personality, and confidence have kept people talking for a long time, which is probably one reason every comment about his dating life gets magnified online. Now, some viewers are wondering whether he could eventually share more about his experiences around famous people. But unless EJ actually announces some kind of tell-all or names specific individuals himself, claims that he's preparing to shake up the entire industry are still just internet chatter. What really pushed this conversation into the spotlight was EJ's own discussion about dating. During an appearance with Carlos King on Reality with the King, EJ talked about the type of men he tends to attract. He explained that he doesn't regularly spend time at gay clubs or gay-focused events because, according to him, those aren't necessarily the places where the men he attracts tend to be. That comment immediately caught people's attention and sent social media into detective mode. Some listeners started trying to figure out exactly what EJ meant and whether he was hinting at something deeper about his dating experiences.
I don't attract gay men, and I'm not and I'm not attracted to gay men. Like, it's just not a thing. Tell me more about that. You know, it's just, I think, like, if you ask any of the girls, like, they'll tell you the same. And I think they're just labels. You know, that's what, like, I don't care what, you know, like, I'm dating someone. I'm like, I don't care what you identify as or what you call yourself, as long as you're happy.
But there's a huge difference between analyzing what someone actually said and inventing identities or private relationships that haven't been confirmed. And with EJ's comments now getting dissected word by word, that distinction matters more than ever. And according to EJ, the men who tend to show interest in him often publicly identify as straight. That detail immediately grabbed people's attention because EJ explained that some of the men he has connected with had reportedly spent most of their lives dating women before crossing paths with him. Naturally, those comments opened the door to a flood of questions online about what EJ was really trying to say and just how complicated some of these private situations might have been. But there's an important distinction here. EJ talking about his own experiences doesn't automatically confirm how any unnamed person identifies behind closed doors. Labels like DL started getting thrown around by viewers almost immediately, but that's their interpretation of his comments, not something that should automatically be attached to unidentified people as fact. What EJ's comments did suggest is that his dating experiences haven't always fit neatly into the labels people might expect. Then Carlos took the conversation into celebrity territory, and that's when things got even more interesting. EJ said he hadn't actually dated a celebrity, but he indicated that there may have been one or two private encounters involving well-known people, with rappers coming up in the discussion. He didn't publicly provide names, though, and that detail matters. Without names or confirmation from anyone else involved, trying to connect random rappers to EJ would be pure speculation. Still, you already know how the internet works. The second people heard rappers and private, social media started trying to fill in the blanks, with viewers wondering whether EJ had quietly crossed paths with some seriously recognizable industry figures. But EJ saying he may have privately connected with famous people is very different from confirming their identities, relationships, or how those individuals personally identify, and that distinction is exactly where this story starts getting even more complicated.
Being who you are. But no, to be honest, it's like, that's why I don't go to gay clubs. I don't go to, gay things, because it's like the men that I attract are not there. But it's like, these are not my men in terms of attraction. Now, if I'm just going to have a kiki, sure. But like, these are not the men that are interested in me in that capacity. I do that when I go to the straight.
Now, this is where the online rumors surrounding EJ start getting seriously heated. Some people on social media have been claiming that EJ could eventually speak out about rappers and other industry figures who allegedly criticize the LGBTQ+ community in public while behaving very differently in private. But there's still no confirmed evidence that EJ is actually preparing some massive expose, so those claims need to stay exactly where they belong, in the rumor category. According to the chatter, the part that supposedly bothers EJ most is the alleged double standard. Certain public figures may post religious messages, use phrases like pause or no homo, or carefully protect a particular image in front of their audience. Meanwhile, online speculation claims some of those same people privately reach out to EJ or communicate with him away from the cameras. Again, without names, messages, or direct confirmation, nobody can fairly say which celebrities these rumors are referring to, or whether the stories are even accurate. The alleged situation gets even more awkward when public appearances enter the picture. Some online commenters claim these unnamed men might be friendly with EJ privately, but distant when cameras are around, almost like they've never met before. If that really happened, it could obviously create tension. At the same time, nobody outside those private interactions knows the full story, and there could be plenty of reasons why someone chooses to keep a relationship or friendship away from social media. EJ's confidence has also become a huge part of this conversation. He has openly talked about his appearance, his style, and how he views himself around women, and those comments have definitely sparked reactions. Some viewers interpret that confidence as EJ believing he can walk into a room and compete with just about anybody for attention. Others think people are taking bold comments and turning them into something much bigger than what EJ actually meant. And that brings up the question people online keep pushing. If EJ has supposedly attracted all these famous men, Why haven't any of those rumored connections become public relationships? Why aren't there public posts, red carpet appearances, or introductions to family members? Those questions might sound juicy, but they don't prove anything. A person choosing not to publicly confirm a relationship doesn't automatically reveal their identity, intentions, or what happened privately. Still, the gap between EJ's confident comments and all these mysterious, unnamed connections is exactly what keeps the internet talking. And this is where critics say EJ's larger-than-life confidence may be colliding with something much more personal. EJ is used to being seen, photographed, and talked about. He grew up connected to one of the biggest names in basketball, and he later built a public image of his own through fashion, television, and celebrity culture.
When it comes to men, has it always been what some people consider the straight guy always being the one that would approach you?
Or somebody who, has been intimate and dating, women for most of their life, or like up until then, for sure. Absolutely. It has always been that way, but now it's like even more so, now that I definitely present in more.
So the online theory goes like this. If someone is comfortable communicating with him privately, but suddenly acts distant when cameras appear, that could create some serious tension. But that theory still shouldn't be treated as a confirmed explanation for EJ's feelings. Nobody outside the situation can really know what motivates him or how he feels about any private connection unless he says it himself. Calling someone a secret or claiming their ego is bruised might make for dramatic gossip, but it doesn't establish what actually happened. What we do know is that EJ has never exactly been shy about expressing himself, which is why even the possibility of him sharing more about his experiences has people paying attention. Then another rumor started spreading. Anonymous sources and gossip pages allegedly claimed EJ had considered dropping hints about unnamed entertainment figures he had crossed paths with privately. That sent internet detectives into overdrive. Suddenly, recognizable rappers and celebrities were being pulled into the discussion, even though there was no reliable evidence connecting those specific people to EJ romantically. And that's where the speculation goes too far. Random names appearing on blogs doesn't make the claims true. The rumors became even more extreme when some posts tried connecting EJ to controversial private celebrity gatherings and alleged inappropriate arrangements involving other famous figures. Those are serious claims, and without strong evidence, repeating them as fact would be reckless. Being photographed near someone, attending the same event, or moving within overlapping celebrity circles does not prove a private relationship or anything improper. Even old headlines and social media posts have been dragged back into the conversation, with people using vague labels and questionable descriptions to build an even bigger story. But internet gossip has a way of taking one unclear claim, attaching a famous name to it, and suddenly presenting the whole thing like a confirmed scandal. That doesn't mean the story checks out. So beneath all the noise, there are really two separate things happening. EJ's actual public comments about his dating experiences are one thing, while bloggers guessing which celebrities he might have privately known is something completely different.
Especially, and also like a man with like a presence. Like I love a powerful presence. Like when you're like, ooh, he has it like that. Like I like that.
Have you ever dated like a celebrity?
I've never dated a celebrity, I don't think.
Mixing those together can make speculation look like evidence. And right now, the internet seems determined to fill every unanswered blank with the wildest explanation possible. Then the blogs started digging through old photos, posts, and blind items, and the story quickly got even more chaotic. One gossip site shared photos of EJ wearing jean shorts while filling up his Lamborghini Urus in Los Angeles. But instead of simply talking about his outfit, the post tried to connect those completely ordinary photos to much bigger rumors involving Sean Diddy Combs. There was no proof in the photos themselves that established any private relationship, yet that didn't stop the speculation from spreading across social media. Around the same period, Crazy Days and Nights reportedly published a blind item that read, "This NBA legend is being brought into the whole producer wannabe rapper mess because his son loved the parties." Naturally, people online immediately started playing detective. But blind items are anonymous gossip, and they don't provide enough evidence to identify the people involved or confirm that the underlying story is accurate. Still, once readers began connecting the wording to famous NBA families, EJ's name became part of the online conversation. Things escalated again when a popular account on X made an even more direct claim about EJ and Diddy allegedly having a private relationship behind the scenes. The post also pointed to the fact that Magic Johnson had previously presented Diddy with a Community Leadership Award, attempting to use that public moment as another piece of the puzzle. But a social media accusation isn't proof, and appearing at the same events or having professional connections doesn't establish the private relationship being alleged. Magic himself did not publicly confirm those rumors, and the internet began filling that silence with even more theories. Magic and Diddy had crossed paths publicly over the years, as plenty of major figures in sports, music, and entertainment have. That kind of celebrity connection alone doesn't prove knowledge of, or involvement in, anything controversial happening away from the cameras.
I may have hooked up with one or two in the shadows.
Rappers.
I can't tell you.
But this is where the gossip machine really went into overdrive. Online posts began trying to expand the story beyond Magic and EJ, suggesting that other people connected to professional basketball had attended private celebrity gatherings associated with Diddy. Those claims quickly became tangled together with much more serious allegations surrounding certain events. Unless there's reliable evidence identifying who attended a particular gathering and what actually happened there, simply being connected to the NBA or appearing in an old celebrity photo doesn't establish wrongdoing. And that distinction is crucial, because the internet was now mixing photographs, blind items, old award appearances, anonymous posts, and serious allegations into one giant scandal. Some pieces were publicly documented, while others were nothing more than claims circulating through gossip accounts. Once all of that gets blended together, it becomes incredibly easy for speculation to start looking like fact. You've probably already seen plenty of wild celebrity rumors floating around online. But now Kevin Durant's name has somehow been dragged into the conversation too. Certain gossip posts and blind items have tried connecting KD to EJ Johnson through private celebrity parties. But there's no reliable evidence confirming that alleged relationship, and EJ hasn't publicly verified those claims either. So despite social media running with the story, it remains internet speculation, not established fact. The chatter got even louder after a promotional photo of KD went viral online. The image was reportedly connected to a campaign for his candy apple red Nike shoe. But instead of focusing on the sneakers, fans immediately started analyzing KD's pose with an apple. Some reactions included comments like, "KD doing some zesty sus promos lately," while another person joked, "KD
Find the right girl, man.
Come on, bro. Stop talking to me like I need advice on.
It's whatever. Trust me. He got his heart broken once.
No,
I used to be just like him.
Bro.
I used to be just like him.
Every time I explain my stats to people, they say shit like,
"No, I get it,
bro. You just been hurt, or you just, bro. I enjoy spending time with. It's just not as long as maybe you like to spend time with people, man."
I can't prove it, but I'm on to you, sir. Another fan asked, "This pic of KD is insane. The F he mouthed the apple like that for?" One promotional image was suddenly being treated like some giant internet mystery, but people started taking things way beyond jokes about the photo. Some commenters pointed to KD approaching 40 without a wife or children, and tried using his personal life as evidence for their theories. That doesn't prove anything about someone's identity or relationships. Plenty of people choose not to marry, have children, or publicly discuss who they're dating, and celebrities are no different. So while KD's unusual promotional photo gave social media plenty of material for memes and jokes, connecting that image, or his relationship status, to private rumors about EJ is a massive leap. The viral reactions are real, but the bigger story people built around them remains unverified. But with KD, social media detectives weren't only talking about the fact that he's single and doesn't have children. People also started digging through his very private dating history. One of his best-known public relationships was with NBA player Monica Wright, more than a decade ago. And since then, Durant has generally kept his romantic life far away from the spotlight. That silence has naturally made curious fans start asking questions. But privacy doesn't automatically mean there's some secret explanation. Then Kevin appeared on Logan Paul's podcast and openly discussed relationships and marriage. He explained that he wasn't looking for a girlfriend, and shared his personal views about why marriage wasn't necessarily something he wanted. The comments quickly spread online, and viewers began dissecting his delivery almost as much as his actual words. One commenter even claimed, "He ain't for the ladies." Do a little research. But that's somebody's interpretation, not proof of anything about Durant's private life or identity. That distinction became especially important once unsupported rumors involving E.J. Johnson started circulating.
Especially if I look cuter than any girl does, like, what's the problem? Like, what's the issue? And that's exactly how I apply it to myself these days in the way that I present, like in my feminine regalia. I've always been a feminine being, and like, that's just like how I best express myself. But I'm like, listen.
Because KD doesn't publicly showcase his dating life, some internet users tried to treat that lack of information like a missing piece of a puzzle. Then EJ's name got thrown into the mix, and suddenly people were trying to connect completely separate details as though they confirmed each other. But being wealthy, famous, nearly 40, unmarried, or extremely private about relationships doesn't establish who somebody dates. And saying you don't want marriage isn't evidence of a hidden relationship either. KD has every right to keep that side of his life private, without strangers filling in the blanks for him. Still, the internet rarely leaves a blank space empty. Once those old dating discussions, podcast comments, viral pictures, and EJ rumors landed in the same conversation, people started building their own theories. And then another old piece of internet history resurfaced, one that sent the speculation in a completely different direction. Back in 2021, Kevin Durant landed in serious controversy after the NBA fined him $50,000 over private Instagram messages exchanged with actor Michael Rappaport. The messages included homophobic and misogynistic language, and once screenshots became public, the backlash hit fast. Durant later apologized for the language, making it clear that the situation had crossed a line. But this is also where some people online started making a huge leap. They tried to argue that KD's offensive language somehow revealed something deeper about his private identity or relationships. There's simply no evidence supporting that conclusion. Someone using disrespectful language can absolutely be criticized for what they said, but it doesn't prove who they're attracted to or explain their private life. Trying to diagnose somebody's identity from offensive comments is speculation, plain and simple. Then, another detail caught people's attention. Around that broader period, Nike's Be True initiative, which celebrates the LGBTQ+ community, featured a special edition of Durant's signature KD13 sneaker. Naturally, social media users noticed what they saw as a sharp contrast. On one side, KD had been disciplined over messages containing offensive language. On the other, his signature sneaker line was appearing under Nike's pride-focused collection. That contrast gave the internet even more material to debate. Some viewed the Nike collaboration as evidence that a product campaign and a person's private messages shouldn't automatically be treated as representing the same thing. Others saw it as an awkward contradiction after the earlier controversy.
I'm out all the time, and like, I'm killing a dress and no one else is. Like, the girls in the room are not doing it. Like, they don't look cute. They're not dressed to any of nine. So,
What we can't automatically claim, though, is exactly how much personal involvement Durant had in every branding decision behind the campaign without evidence showing that. So yes, there was a real controversy involving KD's messages, and there was a real pride-focused Nike initiative involving his signature sneaker. But using those two facts to speculate about Durant's private identity is where the story stops being evidence-based and starts becoming internet detective work. And apparently, this is the exact point where the rumors about EJ's frustration really started heating up. Online gossip claims EJ has crossed paths with various men throughout entertainment and sports who allegedly present themselves one way publicly but behave very differently around him in private. Some posts have even claimed that rappers, athletes, actors, and producers are part of that circle. But without names or reliable evidence, there's no fair way to confirm any of those stories. According to one supposed insider, EJ is allegedly frustrated by people who publicly make disrespectful comments about the LGBTQ+ community while privately treating him with an entirely different level of acceptance. If something like that really happened, it's easy to understand why the hypocrisy itself could become an issue. Nobody wants to feel respected behind closed doors and then treated like a stranger once the cameras come on. But then the gossip takes a much bigger turn. Anonymous sources have claimed EJ could eventually reveal names, dates, messages, and other supposed receipts. Some rumors even suggest he has private communications that certain industry figures wouldn't want becoming public. That sounds explosive, but there's one major problem. None of this alleged material has been publicly verified. Until EJ actually releases something authentic or makes a direct statement himself, claims about secret evidence remain just that, claims. And this is where the situation becomes a real ethical debate. Calling out someone for documented anti-gay comments or public hypocrisy is completely different from revealing their private identity or relationships without consent. Even if somebody has behaved badly, exposing deeply personal information can still cross a serious line. That same standard has to apply to EJ too. If someone had publicly revealed private information about him before he was ready to discuss it himself, people would have questioned whether that was fair. So if these rumors about a possible expose ever become something more than internet chatter, the biggest controversy may not just be who gets named. It could also be whether anybody has the right to tell someone else's private story in the first place. But here's where EJ's side of this story gets complicated. If he knowingly chooses to connect with men who publicly identify as straight, or who keep their dating lives extremely private, then there's always going to be a chance that those connections stay away from cameras. EJ himself has publicly discussed attracting men who have traditionally dated women, so viewers naturally started questioning what expectations existed in those private situations. At the same time, that doesn't mean anybody deserves disrespect. If someone is friendly and accepting behind closed doors, but publicly attacks the LGBTQ+ community, that hypocrisy can absolutely be criticized. But there's still a massive difference between calling out hateful public behavior and revealing somebody's private identity without their permission. Two things can be true at once. EJ could have legitimate reasons to feel frustrated, while exposing someone's personal life could still cross a line. And that's really what makes this entire story so messy. The internet wants names, screenshots, secret messages, and a massive celebrity reveal. But most of what we've covered comes from rumors, anonymous gossip, blind items, and social media theories. Until EJ personally confirms something or credible evidence emerges, nobody should be treating those theories like established facts. So now I want to hear what you think. Do you think EJ has a point when it comes to calling out public hypocrisy? Or should everyone's private relationships stay private no matter what? And do you think social media has taken EJ's comments and turned them into a much bigger scandal than what he actually said? Drop your opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear the whole story. Hit that notification button too, because you already know the internet never stays quiet for long. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.